Now Nandagopa was so amazed at Krishna's beauty. Nirvyaja mandasmita darshaniyam nirajitam kundala ratnabhasa nandastadanim na jagama triptim mugdhaksharam prekshya mukham tadiyam. Now Krishna, small baby with eyes, with ears, karnabheram was done. In that were small fish-shaped earrings which were placed. It had beautiful small 1 cent diamonds. Okay, and then it had some small rubies, and the glistening of it will fall on his mirror-like cheeks. And then he used to look so adorable that Nandagopa would look at him and then would again want to look at him. Generally, this is not found in humans, right? If you look at one person once, you may not want to look at the other. Same thing. But here he says, Nirajitam kundala ratna bhasa nandastadanim na jagama triptim mugdhaksharam prekshya mukham tadanim. He kept looking at his child. Now, Vishwani Vishwadhika Shakti Rekaha Namani Rupani Cha Nirmimanaha Namaikadesha Grahanepi Matur Babhuva Krishno Bahumana Patram. This is a shloka that I have already said earlier, where Bhagavan during Srishtikalam gives Namam and Rupam to all of us. But that boy, little boy, is now trying to utter half the syllable of the word Amma. Nahi sir, he was in north, he would have just said Ma. Okay, Ma. वो क्यों अम्मा बोलेगा? वो क्यों मद्रासी है क्या? नहीं. Ma. Okay, Ma, Pa. So he said Ma. Okay, whatever in that Ma, only he was able to say. See, whatever word, you have to take only half of it. If it is Amma, If it is Ma, that's all. Half only he said. That is the moral of the story. Now, Tamisha Duttaya Nilina Marat Samprekshya Dantankura Charuhasam Sanatanim Drishtim Ananya Drishtihi Sanandamalokatananda Patni. Now, Alvar again describes the sea. Vedanta Desika was steeped in the Alvar tradition. He was completely engrossed. So he took, when he wrote this Kavyam, it was just not Bhagavatam, Vishnu Puranam and Harivamsham which were his sources. Alvar's Pasurams. How to experience Bhagavan. How to enjoy. See, enjoyment is also a skill. How to enjoy. You will have to, you are in a certain situation. You should know how to get out of that situation by feeling yourself. See, every time you don't have to attend a motivational lecture to feel motivated, right? Somebody cannot keep walking this way and that way with that stand mic. Do you feel the power? Why should somebody keep reminding your power? See, for Anjaneya Swami, he had a Shapam. So Jambavan had to remind him, what Shapam do we have? So we should feel motivated. You don't have to attend a 2-day program always to get... I have nothing against motivational speakers. What motivation? See, at least you should have a story. You should tell Krishna Avataram. People should feel motivated. I cannot keep telling my entire lecture, do you feel the energy within you? How can you feel the energy? Only if you think of Krishna, you can feel this energy. So in my opinion, any motivational lecture without Bhagavan Nama is a waste. Is my opinion. I am very blunt about it. Some may not like also. Now you are all clapping. If I go to other places, some may not like it. That statement, I feel, why should it always be Bhagavan? Because Bhagavan is the one who gives us energy. If I keep telling energy is a physics equation. Right? So these words, wordplay, that pauses will help you get a Booker Prize. The mass, the force. That force is something. All this will help me get an award because I give the right pauses, right? Because if you want to win an award, you should give pauses. You should not speak like me. Do you feel that? I can't feel anything like that. You should always feel Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the only energy motivation, because the moment we say Bhagavan, then we are one step below. We are all there. Energy motivation, we are somewhere there. Because we want to be very secular in nature. We have to impress all the Gen Z. So we'll have to say that energy, because they have studied only energy in school. Right? Mass, acceleration, velocity and all of that. If I say Bhagavan, then I'm somewhere there below. Bhagavan lan solra. He should talk energy, acceleration, mass, Schrodinger's equation, then only I will reach. See, how long can we keep acting? Why should we act? Why should we be concerned about what others will think if I say the word Bhagavan? Half our life is going in pretense to impress on the others. Oh, what will the child think? Let him think whatever he wants. Right? If he thinks whatever he wants, that's his problem. See, first we will have to be very true to ourselves. Then we can be true to others. So in my opinion, no motivation can happen without Ramayanam and Mahabharata. This is my thought. If you have another thought, probably Trump will surely have another thought. You'll have to ask him later. Now, for now. Tamisha Dutthaya Nileenamarat Samprekshya Dantankura Charuhasam, because Alvars were so influential in Vedanta Desika's life that he says in this shloka, Tamisha Dutthaya Nileenamarat Samprekshya Dantankura Charuhasam Sanatanim Drishtim Ananya Drishtihi Sanandamalokata Nandapatni. Nandapatni. Earlier the shloka was Nanda. Nanda kept looking at Krishna's face. Now Nandapatni, his Dharmapatni Yashoda, she had the saubhagyam to watch Krishna walk, to watch Krishna fall, to watch Krishna. See, these are all magical moments in being a mother, right? So you get to see the child. At times mothers will feel, why can't we freeze this moment? அது மேலே 20 வயசு ஆனவொன்னு தான் ப்ராப்ளமே வருதுங்க. இது இத்தனை சமத்தாக இருக்கே, பாடாக படுத்துறது போட்டுன்னு தோணிட்டு இருக்கு இல்லையா? So that moment, every child has that moment, every mother will have that moment. So they freeze that moment. Padaistribhihi, now Krishna has to walk. Now don't ask me, sir, so soon he will walk. We have passed a few months now. Now Krishna has to walk. Now Yashoda, Krishna was in the front, Yashoda was in the back. As he was able to stand, Yashoda held her dear son for balancing. Then he held with his lotus-like fingers, both sides holding his mother's hands. Yashoda would say, yeah. Keep that foot forward. Yeah, that one. No. Keep this one. Yeah, slow. Vedanta Desika says, a few years back, he measured the worlds. This lady is teaching the man who measured the worlds how to keep one step. Padaistribihi kranti jagatrayam tam bhavyashaya bhavita balabhavam karena sangrihya karambujagryam sancharayamasa. Slowly she walked, Shanair Yashoda, she walked. Now Vedanta Desika, she is the one who has uttered the Vedas, is being taught how to utter the word Amma, Ma. The one who has been measuring the worlds as Trivikrama is taught by this lady how to walk. So every act of Krishna is relished and cherished here. Sasancharan sadhu janah pratipair ma bhujyatam seyamiti vamatva chakradibihi pada saroja chinnaihi amudrayamasa mahimananyaihi. Now, as he would walk, this is again Alvar's Pasuram. When Krishna was there, every year when they would celebrate Krishna's birthday, Krishna Jayanti was celebrated from those times. So Krishna would call his close by friends, mother and father would be planning what return gift to give. Oh, that is one big discussion these days. When people come home, what return gift to give? Right? So they were planning, bulk you have to buy. Then there'll be, I'm sure all this in the last 20 years has become one big cause of concern. I'm sure when many of you grew up, probably you didn't even have a birthday celebration. Right? Because you are one amongst 5, one amongst 10. Parents may not even remember in which order they produced. So maximum they will do is one sweet on the day of Nakshatra. When you have that sweet, you will realize that you were born a few years back on this very day. So long ago in Bethlehem. So you will remember. But now that birthday celebration, the next birthday celebration begins on the day after the previous birthday. Next year, what we have to do, what we have to plan, big balloons, big cake. That cake itself will cost you that entire house. So all this is there. Now, Krishna's birthday. Now all these women in Gokulam wanted to celebrate. and they came up with the concept Krishna should come to our houses. How can Krishna visit? That is when they said, in our houses what do? We make one batter, and based on the mommy or mama's hand size, that leg size will, foot size will be there. If mama has a big hand, priya Krishna rodakal. Alla 4-5 Krishna vandu ninnulla. So then we are all license givers in India. To get license, they are all Parama Vaishnavas. You have to put 8. 8 thane ponno. 8 na ashtaksharam. So all the license givers in Bharata Desham are ashtaksharis. Omiti vyaharet, namaiti paschat, narayanayet, uparishtat, omiti ekaksharam, namaiti dve akshare, narayanayeti panchaksharani. So they are all Parama Vaishnavas. They will ask you to put 8. So in that 8 you have to put, and that too if you are in the 18th floor, you cannot put from the ground floor. So from the doorstep, we will start putting those chinhams. When Krishna lived, what was it? They will call Krishna, Krishna, kanna idhar aao. He'll come. Then they will ask him to jump on that batter and say walk. When he used to run, amudrayamasa, the mudra used to come. But those mudras were different, says the Alvar. You can see that Shankha Chakra Rekha in that foot, it seems. So he says, Sasancharan sadhu janaf pratimair ma bhujyatam seyamiti vamatva chakradibihi pada saroja chinhair amudrayama samahi mananyaihi alambhya matuhu karapallavagram shanai shanai sancharato murarehe babhara chitramiva patra rekham dhanya padanya samayim dharitri. Now Vedanta Desika intelligently brings one samskara of the Vaishnava Parampara. In the Vaishnava Parampara, it is a belief that you love Bhagavan, you should ape him. You should do that. So it is called mudra. So what we do is we go to an acharya and get the samashrayanam panchasamskaram done. Anybody can get it done. It's in the Vaishnava Parampara. It doesn't mean only Vaishnavas should do it. Anybody can get it done. So it is a Shankha Chakra Lanchanam. Now, Bhuma Devi wanted to be a Vaishnava too. Now, she wanted to get the Shankha Chakra Mudra. What did she do? She waited for that moment when Krishna would walk over her. So, when Krishna walked, she got it done. Padanya Samayim Dharitri, Bhuma Devi got it done. Akarma nighno bhuvananya jastram sankalpaleshena niyamya divyam pracharitaha prastunaya jananya pade vishramama chakangshe. Now, the one who is beyond all bondage, so he says akarma nighnaha, karma nighnaha, the one who is bound by karma, akarma nighnaha, the one who is beyond karma, bhuvananya jastram sankalpaleshena niyamya divyan, the one who controls all this, that the world is a sport, pracharitaha prastunaya jananya, then he made his mother run and walk besides him. Once she ran behind him, walked besides him. Pade vishramama chakangshe. Now, every time he walked, she would feel, oh my dear child. And that vatsalyam every minute that came within her would make her lactate. So, he says, vishramama chakangshe. Next, Griheshu dagdhno mathanah pravruttau prishat kanair utpatitaih prakirnaha nidarshayamasa nijam avastham prachim sudhashi karayoga chitra. Now, when in his household, she used to keep her child close to her, and she used to start churning the curds. Because the child was still asleep, because it was early hours of the morning, because churning of the curds happened before the sunrise. After the sunrise, there will be curdling. So you should never churn to get the butter after the sunrise. So before the sunrise, he was sleeping, she was doing it. That is why Mattinal Vosai Padutta Tairaravam Kettilayo, says Andal. When her friend asks, why are you waking me up so early? Is it time for me to wake up? Yes, oh my dear friend. Can't you listen to the noise that is emanating from the churning of the curds from a lady whose hair is naturally fragrant, says Andal. Mattinal Vosai Padutta Tairaravam Kettilayo. there she says, Vasanarunkulal Aichiyar Mattinal. Vasanarunkulal, those ladies. So, the ladies of Gokulam, they didn't have to apply any other cosmetics to their hair. Naturally, it was fragrant. So, Vasanarunkulal Aichiyar Mattinal Vosai Padutha Thair Aravam Kettilayo. Haven't you heard of that sound? So, when the child was placed next to Yashoda and she was churning, droplets of the curd would fall, buttermilk would fall on his face. Dark face, white droplets it used to be. Now, Krishna didn't wake up. Why? Because he was already used to it. Because when the oceans were churned by the Devas, as kurma, those droplets fell on him. That was of milk. Now it is of buttermilk. That is Kshirarnavam. This is Morarnavam. So that is Kshiram, this is more. So he was used to it. Griheshu dadhno mathana pravrittau prishatkanair utpatitaih prakirnaha nidarshayamasa nijam avastham Prachim Sudhashikara Yoga Chitram. Next he says, Aranyakanam Prabhavav Phalanam Aranyajatani Phalanyabhipsan Vistram Siddhanyanjalina Karena Vyadhatmajam Vishwapati Sisheve. Now there is a small incident which is described of a lady who used to muster the courage to go into the forests that were infested with wild animals, and then she would pick up fruits, especially of the jamun variety, fill it in a casket and bring it along the streets of Gokulam to be sold to people. And she knew the largest customer was Yashoda and Nandagopa because Krishna loved jamuns. Naval Param. We say jambu, jamun. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ? ತೆಲುಗುలో ఏవండి? നേരടിപ്പെട്ടു. മലയാളത്തിൽ എന്താണ്? നാവൽ പഴം. പാടി. തമിഴ് and Malayalam are good friends. നാവൽ പഴം. हिंदी में क्या बोलते हैं? जामुन. അவ்வளோதானே எல்லா எடுத்தா language. Okay. Now, this jamun fruit was used to be brought and Krishna used to love. But the only way to buy these fruits was to barter. You give grains to the woman, the forest fruit seller, and would pick the fruits in return. Aranyakanam Prabhavav Phalanam. Now Vedanta Desika again deploys a word play here. If you pay attention for a minute, you can understand what he is trying to mean. In the Vedas, we have one portion called Aranyakam. This Aranyakam is believed to be the product of rishis' intense knowledge while they were meditating and contemplating upon the Paramatma in the deep forests. So it is believed that it arose from the forests, and it's called as Aranya Bhagam. So Brahmanam, Aranyakam, Samhita, Upanishad is how we distribute. So the one who has been mentioned in the Aranyakam, because there is a Taittiriya Aranyakam, for every Veda you will have many Aranyakas. So the one who has been in detail described in all the Aranyakas which were formed in the Aranyas is now waiting to receive the fruits of the Aranyas. Aranyam is a forest. So he says the fruits that would come from the forest is what he is waiting for. He is the one who gives away the fruits to the people who speak of the Aranya. So he says, Aranyakanam Prabhavav Phalanam Aranyajatani Phalanyabhipsan Vistram Siddhanyanjalina Karena Vyadhatmajam Vishwapati Sheve. Now, the lady who came to give away those fruits, sell those fruits, she said, I've brought fruits. Now Krishna from the backyard had to take a handful of grains and walk towards her. As he would walk, the grains would fall within that small crevice formed in those two palms. So all the grains would fall. There were only probably 1 or 2 grains stuck to his palms, and then he would come to the courtyard and would give away those 2 grains, absolutely embarrassed and feeling very coy about this because he's picking up a lot of fruits and what he's offering is just a pair, a couple of grains. And the lady would take it all without questioning. Probably she must have been out of a business mind, we may wonder, but she says, why will I ask you for something else but moksham? Now Krishna asked, why will you need moksham and how do you know that I will grant moksham? I never said I will grant you moksham. She said, no, I will give you these jamun fruits, give me moksham in return. How do you know I will grant moksham? Sujata rekhatmaka shankha chakram tambrodaram tasya kararavindam vilokayantya phalavikrakanya vikretumatmanam abhut vimarshaha, says Vedanta Desika. Sujata rekhatmaka shankha chakram. There were signs of shankha and chakra. See, shankha chakra rekha is a slightly deep topic. In astrology, there are various ways to kind of make predictions of one's life. The traditional ways, that Kundli Jatakam you look. In Kerala, there is one method. Before that Jatakam, they do Prashnam. They take some choris and they will they'll roll it over the ground and check if this is the right time to do. Then there is a Nimitta Shastram. You see the Nimittas and the Horas to decide whether to see the Jatakam. There is another method deployed by the rishis, which is given in the form of manuscripts, found earlier in Chidambaram, now in Vaidishwaran Kovil. It is called Nadi Josiyam. So where they would take the fingerprint of the person and then check. You may or may not get it. In that fingerprint, each one's fingerprint is different. That is why we use that for our security purposes. Your fingerprints are all different. In that fingerprint, the way that fingerprint will be, in certain cases, if it is rolled like a shankam, like a chakram, that means in earlier days they knew that you were a manifestation of Narayana. So Prithu Chakravarti's fingers carried the marks of Shankha Chakram. That is how they find out he is an Aparavataram and Amshavataram of Vishnu. When Tiruppan Alvar, one of the Alvars, sings about the beauty of the reclining Lord of Srirangam, he says that this Bhagavan Shangodu Chakram. So he says he is Kayinal Surishanga Ariyendi. So he has got Shankam Chakram. But the beauty is the Moolamurti of Srirangam doesn't have Shankam and Chakram. If you think of Ranganatha, there is no Shankam. He's just reclining like this. Where is there Shankha Chakram? Vedanta Desika says, Kai Rekhaile Terindidire. When you zoom and see his palm, you can see Shankha Chakram, it seems. So Sujata Rekhatmaka Shankha Chakram, that Shankha Chakra Rekha was there. Tambrodaram tasyakara aravindam. This lady, while she collected those 2 grains, saw that Shankha Chakram. She said, oh, you don't have to give me grains, give me moksham. So this is one of the greatest business deals ever. You offer 4 jamun fruits and expect moksham in return. What a business deal it was. So Vilokayantya Phalavikrakanya.